The US dollar dropped across the board. The US dollar hit its lowest level since September, after the news that the US inflation has slowed, depriving the Fed of the grounds for further rate hikes. Currently, investors are speculating about when a possible rate cut will happen. Today, we will talk about the upcoming economic releases and the impact on investor sentiment. You are watching the InstaForex TV channel. On Thursday, investors are likely to continue selling the US dollar at the start of the Asian-Pacific trading session. Meanwhile, Australia will release a report on the labor market. According to forecast, the indicators will likely record positive momentum and the number of employed will increase. However, some notice a weakening of support for the national currency of Australia, as investors are concerned about the risks of an impending recession. The signs of which can be seen in the reports of the United States and China's economies. In particular, the Australian dollar serves as a barometer of risk appetite in the region. Thursday's weekly report on unemployment claims in the United States will let markets assess the prospects for changes in the labor market conditions. So far, the increase has been fairly stable in the 200 and 220,000 range, which is considered normal for the world's first economy. Investors will be looking at the state of employment as a basis for determining the Fed's next move. At this point, the issue of the Fed's rate hike is much more important to the market, so the values of the macroeconomic indicators within the normal range point to the fact that the US economy can withstand the next monetary policy tightening. However, there is always a catch. US industrial production data will be released on Thursday, and the data is not encouraging at all. According to analysts, the output of US companies will show a decline of 0.3% in October. However, in September, despite the strike at the plants of the three largest car manufacturers, the volume of production increased. However, economists remain pessimistic, which may be reflected in the continued weakening of the US assets. On a Friday, investors will turn to the news from Europe. For example, British statistical agencies will continue to release reports. First of all, the key sector of the British economy, consumption, will be released. Markets expect the retail sales report for October. The figure is expected to climb above zero, which may calm those traders who insist on selling the British currency based on speculations about the possible beginning of the Bank of England's rate cuts as early as next May. The news on retail sales growth will bring back the British pound's appeal. The trading week will end with the final EU inflation report for October. The preliminary index shows a sharp slowdown to 2.9%. If the actual figure confirms the preliminary estimates, markets will have little reaction to the news, as this information is already priced in the quotes. We will monitor the market reaction to the above-mentioned reports. Subscribe to our channel and follow changes in market sentiment with us. Any comments, questions and offers are welcomed. We wish you profitable trading and see you soon!